That was a great interview. Fantastic interview, obviously. And I think I cut him off, but Billy Lucci from TexAgs does a phenomenal job over there. All your A&M stuff. Love it to death. I'll let you start, Tyler.
Okay.
Huge game. 2:30 start Central Time. I don't know why I gave Central Time out since we're in the East Coast.
Yep.
Massive game. Take it away.
Current line is Texas A&M +2. Total of 47. I think we all remember the last time Bama went out to College Station. Bama was number 1 in the country. Texas A&M takes them down as time expires, 41-38. Outside of that, A&M including that, A&M is 3-12 all time versus Alabama. For Bama's side, Milroe had a good game last week. Obviously, the A&M defense is significantly more talented than Mississippi State, but he did make his first career start, as Billy said, last year in that game when Bryce Young was hurt, and he passed for 3 touchdowns. They won the game. He did have a few turnovers.
3.
Milroe has been sacked 4 or more times in 3 of his 4 starts this year, which is something to watch in this game because, as we said before, A&M 7 sacks in each of the last 2 games, 20 for the season. I think Texas A&M has a better offense, even with Max Johnson, than Bama does currently. I wonder if Bama has enough juice on offense to convert in those key situations against Bama A&M's defense. Red zone, which they haven't been great at this year, and converting on 3rd down consistently. I'm going to go with Billy here. I think it'll be even closer. I'm taking A&M 28, Bama 27. I apologize, sir.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Listen, you guys know that on this show, I'm a diehard Bama fan. Grew up that way. Will make no apologies for it. Love it. I also love being objective. And I said this the other day on the College Chaps podcast, and I'll say it again on here. If there's anything I love more than Alabama football or sex, it's being right. And that's why I'm totally okay with what I said against Texas. And I'll probably be okay with what I'm about to say here because I think it's going to play out that way. I think my lock of a week is Texas A&M. And Texas A&M is a 2.5-point underdog at home. It started at 3.5. I think it's come down a little bit. Before the season, it was like 8. And we've obviously watched Alabama play themselves out of that. Here's the things that concern me. And, it's 4 straight games where you've been held to under 365 total yards of offense. 4 straight games. It's the first time that's happened since 2015. Only the second time they've had 4 straight games in a row that they've done that since 2010. So in the last 14 years, it's something that you don't see from a Bama offense. Now, I will say that they've been able to do stuff in other phases of the game. Obviously, they scored on defense last week. They were able to put 40 points. Still very, very concerning, right? We just saw what LSU did to Ole Miss's defense. Bama only put up 24 against that team, and it took a lot to do that. So a lot of concern here, a lot of concern. I think when you look at the things that concern me most, I brought this up on Sunday, A&M is the only team in the SEC, and I believe the country, that has scored on their first 2 possessions in every single game they've played so far. I don't think Alabama's offense is built to come from behind, and I worry that if they get down early, they will not be able to keep up with them. Now, I will say, so far this season, all 5 teams Bama has faced, 4 of the first possessions were punts, and then 1 was a fumble last week against Mississippi State. That defense is going to have to win this game, I think, for Alabama. I think you have to finish +2 in the turnover margin because I don't trust Jalen Milroe on the road yet because we haven't seen him really ball out or anything like that. It hasn't really been in that position, to be fair. We didn't see him at USF. He played really well against Mississippi State, but they put the game in his hands. He only threw the ball 12 times. I don't think this offense is going to be able to run the football at will or even like they were able to last week. So I think you do have to end up in the plus territory in turnovers. I think you have to continue what the special teams have done for Bama, which has been really impressive. We pinned somebody at the 1-yard line. Love a good punt porn, and we got to see it last week for Bama for the first time seemingly in forever. Will Reichert to his last 24 field goals in a row, knock on wood, including his last 10 from 40 plus. That has to continue. But here's the thing, man. When you talk about where Bama has struggled the most in general as a program over the last couple of years, when this stuff is starting to decline, it's on the road. Even last year with Bryce, you averaged 7 points less per game on the road versus at home. You averaged, I think it was like 170 yards of offense less on the road versus or you gave up 170 yards more per game on the road than you did at home. Then you talk about from a penalty and discipline standpoint, Bama averaged 4 penalties more and over 28 yards more per game in penalties on the road versus at home. Are those things shored up? Because Deontay Lawson, who's supposed to be like the leader of this defense, he's been out. Now, to Bama's credit, they've had guys fill those spots. Like Jihad Campbell's been incredible. Him and Caleb Downs leading the team in tackles.
He's really been blowing up the D-line.
Jihad Campbell has gone to war every single game he's had to start. I worry about the offensive line, and I remember talking to Chris Gordy about this, and he's like,
INDs more like IEDs. Am I right?
Okay, let's move on from it. So what worries me is this. He brought up the fact he's like, you're looking. Stop laughing at your own jokes, idiot.
Oh,
let me do that. That's my thing.
I forgot we're pretty big in Asia, so we got to be careful.
That's true. Stop. So like, he brought up the fact that he was like, I'm looking for a spot where it's like, who is going to be able to like separate this? So I was like, where's the difference? And like, you look at the sacks they've had per game. A&M's had 20. I think Bama's had like 17, so it's pretty similar. Well, I mean, flip that around. A&M's had 20 sacks. How many sacks has Bama allowed? The second most in the SEC. I'll look it up right now. So far this season, sacks allowed, Bama is second to last. They've given up 20 sacks, only in front of South Carolina. A&M's only allowed 7. That offensive line has been a lot better than Bama's offensive line. And this is probably the best defensive line they're going to face. And you saw what they said about DJ Durkin, bringing a lot more pressure. I think Bama has to get the screen game going, all that kind of stuff. I don't see them winning this game on the road in a very tough environment. I hate to say it. I think A&M wins. They are a 2.5-point underdog. I think they win outright. I have A&M 28, Alabama 20.